Welcome to the Tech and Accent podcast.
Here you learn about being an expat, working abroad, technology, and more from no-native English speakers. Let's get into it. Hello and welcome to another episode of Tech and Accent podcast. As the second episode, in the first one, Alekson interviewed me. Now it's my time to interview him. How are you doing, Alekson?
I'm doing great, and as I said to you today, I'm in the comfort zone, so I don't have to manage the questions and I just have to answer you, so I'm really happy.
I feel
And
a bit
I'm also
more
happy to be here
comfort.
with you.
I feel a bit more in comfort having to ask you questions and listening to you answering them instead of having to answer the questions. But I'm glad
Oh, that's
you
great.
feel like that. Okay, so to get started,
Yeah.
why don't you introduce yourself and talk a bit, or should we talk a bit about the idea of creating this podcast, or is it already covered on episode 0?
I think it's covered. It's-
Okay.
My expectation again is just to help people to speak in English, and also maybe it's time to invite people now. If you speak English and you would like to be part of the podcast, send us a message and let's talk in English and share how is your life in English. So,
Perfect. So,
today
yeah.
it's my time to share. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
to get started, I want you to introduce yourself to our audience, and then we can move on with other questions.
okay, so how do I introduce? I didn't prepare myself at all. I will just say what comes to my mind today.
Perfect.
And this is the way I like to do things. So I would introduce myself as a Brazilian that loves to explore the world, that works in tech, and today I'm exploring Canada. I'm living in Montreal, Quebec, and I'm learning a lot about tech, a lot about accent, and a lot about languages, about all the things of life of a human being. So, yeah, to not be long, I believe that I'm a human being like everyone else in this planet, and I'm not better and I'm not worse than anyone. And I really like to help people, so that's one of the motivations to have a podcast.
Yeah.
And
I think this is
yeah,
something we have in common. We like to share our knowledge with the rest of the world, right?
I don't know if I talked about this before, but you were an inspiration before because I was afraid of sharing, and you were already doing this. So yeah, I learned with you this path, and now we are together in this path. So that's great.
Yeah. So you mentioned you live in Canada, but could you explore this a little bit more? Not only talk about where you live, but about how you got there, please.
Yes. So I came here by lucky. I like to say lucky, but it's not lucky. Once when I arrived here, I created a video saying my story, and I was in a conference to share knowledge about soft skills and testing. And in that conference, I met some people from Canada they were there to hire talent people that had the profile they wanted, and I had the profile of QA. So on that day, they found me, and I found them, and like I didn't know Canada. I just was there to speak.
And it
And
was
they offered me a job.
the developers conference, right?
Exactly.
Which one was it? Was
So
it in Porto Alegre, São Paulo?
yeah, Porto Alegre.
Okay.
Also, I went to Florianopolis before, 1 year before that conference, and I was really afraid of speaking in public. And I thought, okay, one day I will speak. So I prepared myself, and the following year I was able to speak. So I was in the conference to speak. That was my main worry that I had, and I found the job. So I shared this in a video, and I sent to a friend, and I said, look, I was really lucky to be there. And a friend told me, man, you're not lucky. You were preparing yourself for a long time to be there.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's why I said I was lucky.
Yeah. So now that you explored a little bit of how you got there, Could you tell us what do you like to do when you are not working, especially in Canada where you live, or around close to where you live as well?
Okay, so this one, people that know me, they know I'm really addicted in CrossFit.
Yeah,
I
I
went
do
to
know
the
that.
yeah I went to the CrossFit Games. That is the main championship of the CrossFit on Earth, and I went 2 times already. Thinking about going again, but maybe not. Maybe it's too much, but I really like to do it. I'm always trying to be better at training. I'm always trying to recover to be ready for training again next day. With age now, it's hard. I'm feeling a lot of lack of mobility, lack of strength, but I'm working hard to be able to do it.
I kind of got addicted as well. Like I started training, but not CrossFit, just workout training. And I used to train when I was younger, but then I 3 years ago started training again. And this year I went to a cruise, and there was this awesome gym. And when I came back from the cruise, I subscribed to a gym just across the street here as well, and I train 6 days per week. I have one day to recover and to rest. I got sick and I am a week already without training, and it's the thing I like the most in my day, so I'm missing it a lot.
Yeah, I saw yesterday someone writing something like, I'm in the moment of my life that I feel dirty when I don't work out.
Yeah,
And I feel
me
the
too.
same.
Me too, yeah. It's the best moment of my day is when I'm training. It's like I feel so great doing that. I wake up and I get ready to do it. Okay, now that is there anything else besides CrossFit that you like to do when you're not working?
Yes, gaming. And this is impacting my CrossFit, and because I sit a lot and because I work sitting, like I need to move a bit and my body gets stuck because the position of sitting is not that healthy.
Yeah.
So gaming is something I really like to do. So I'm doing yoga now to be able to do both things.
Cool.
It's more like a task than a pleasure as CrossFit is. But I'm trying to maintain my body to be able to do everything I like.
Okay. One curiosity I have for you is if you have something to share with us here that you are proud of having achieved in the year of 2023.
I got married.
Awesome. That's a great achievement.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you. And it was hard to find the match, and I found it, and we are married now.
But you were together for how long already?
Almost 4 years. So.
And were you already living together, or were you boyfriend and girlfriend?
Really quick.
But were you already living together?
So I met her in the first break of COVID pandemics, and since then we kind of were all the time together, and then we moved together, and we work from home together. So we passed the test of being together all the time.
Yeah, I think that's an important step before getting married, getting to know each other, living in the same place, sharing the same space, right? Yeah, when I met my wife, we after 1 year being together, we already moved together, and we are now almost 15 years together, and it's just great. Yeah. There is another question. Huh?
Now I got curious. Like, you are being together for 15 years and
14 and like, something, reaching 15. Yeah, we met.
Nice.
In 2009, I think. Yeah, 2009, in a rave party, and
wow.
Yeah, it was a great party. It was called Black Mamba from a friend of mine who used to produce this kind of parties. But and then after a year being seeing each other, we decided to move together. And when we decided to move abroad, we got married in 2016.
That's
Um,
great.
but this episode is for me to ask the questions to you. So the next one that I have is, what would you do if you were not working with technology? You know, when you are young, when you are a child, and you say, when I grow up, I want to be a fireman or something else. What would Alekson want to do if you were not working with technology?
Okay, so you kind of made me think I failed because I wanted to be a soccer player and I was not good enough.
Many
Today I'm
Brazilians
a
have this
soccer
dream, I
player.
would say.
Yeah, and today I play soccer in video games, so I didn't fail. I succeed because now I'm a good soccer player online.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
remember that when I was younger, I used to say that I wanted to be, you know, those cars that get the money in the banks, those safe cars that it's very difficult to get into them, and they transfer the money from, I don't know, a place to another. I don't know what they do, but I wanted to be the driver of that truck because I thought he was the owner of the money that was inside of it when I was a child.
And by the way, I have a story to share about the soccer and the gaming. Because when I was kid, I think I was like 9 or 10, and my friends, we used to go to the school, come back home, and go to the streets to play soccer every day. And we were playing like 4 hours per day, no stop. And then the first friend got a Super Nintendo, and we started to say, okay, this friend is not coming anymore. So we lost a friend for the Super Nintendo, and then another friend got a PlayStation, and okay, so now we are less. And then the LAN house came, and like in the end it was only me and another friend, and we were like, okay, where are everyone? And people were at home or at LAN house playing video games. And then I think I was the last one because my friend that was with me also gave up and went to the LAN house, and I was okay, so now I'm alone here. And then I had to go to the LAN house.
It's crazy.
And then I started playing Counter-Strike. Yeah, it was like from 10 to 11.
Yeah.
And it was really quick because I was child. I didn't see the time, but I lost all the soccer activity for the gaming. But in the gaming was so nice. And then I started playing Tibia with everyone. And I decided, okay, why not I create a server for people? And then I was a kid, like creating a open Tibia server. And we were in the weekend, we were all together playing the same server. So that's really cool. Brought me to the tech world.
In the end, the not playing soccer and going to video games helps you start in your tech adventures, let's say. I really liked video games when I was a child, but I never stopped going outside to play soccer or basketball with my friends. And when I grew up, I lost interest in video games, so I do prefer the real life stuff. But it's just a matter of preference. There is we have a classic question that we ask every one of our guests, and it's time to get to it. I want you to share what's your most embarrassing moment living abroad, Alekson.
Okay, so the most embarrassing moment was the one that I was living in my new place in Canada. It was like the first month, and then I was cooking, and the place was small. So here they have like a system of fire alarm where if there is smoke, it's gonna ring. And I didn't know that. Like I just started to listen to this sound and it was really bad. And like I was new in the place and okay, what is this? And then there was a sensor of heat that if you touch the heat sensor, it's gonna be heat. So because you have your heat from your body. So
Yeah.
I touched that, and then the sensor thought, okay, it's taking fire. It's fire. So it called the fire truckers, firefighters, and it was a building of maybe 15 floors. Everyone had to go down because they smoke of my food, and because I touched the thing I shouldn't. So in the end, there was like 4 fire truckers, and I'm not sure if I'm saying correctly, but it's a fire trucker, right? The trucker.
The truck?
The truck. I don't know. Yeah, fire truck. So the firefighters truck. I think this is the way I
Yeah.
But it was 4, and a lot of firefighters coming to my place, and everyone going down worried to see if it was taking fire or not, and in the end it was only me that did a mistake.
Yeah, at least you learn, right? As far as you learn from your mistakes, it's fine. Yeah, that's a good one.
And my friends learned too. My friends didn't know that, and they started laughing about me, but they didn't do the same mistake because I did first.
Yeah. You teach them a lesson. Okay, I have a question for you that I'm super interested in hear your thoughts about it. And now changing completely the subject. Since we are both in the quality assurance role, I want to hear from you, how do you see the QA role 5 years from now?
I see like a mix of QA with AI. I see like I'm a QA, I'm thinking about the scenarios that we have. I'm thinking the strategy of quality here. And I need some automation, so I will ask the AI to help me. And AI is gonna create some test automation for me. I will be able to execute or ask AI to help me to execute. But I think in 5 years we're gonna be there. Because today...
You'll be pairing with artificial intelligence.
Yeah, maybe not even pairing, but I see like we open a daily scrum or even a daily meeting, not a scrum anymore, and AI is there, like a bot, and AI is giving us the status of the day, saying I run all these tests and it passed all, or oh, there was one test failing, so we're gonna identify why it's failing. So maybe the QA is gonna be just a product owner or a product manager. I don't know, 5 years can change a lot. If you go 5 years back, the world was really different.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine with the exponential potential to go forward.
Yeah. Especially because we don't know what will happen, right? Like if we think about 5 years back, we would never imagine something like the pandemic coming that would force companies to learn to work remotely 100%. So, but it's interesting to think about, like now at this moment, generative AI is something that is really a thing, and there are many products being built based on that. And I would say that actually from experience, from what I do, from what I hear my students and other people, I would say that many QAs are already doing this that you are describing, like maybe not having the AI running the tests for them, but having the AI helping them to create test cases, to refine their automation, this kind of stuff. I was even speaking with someone on one of these days, and they were telling me some very interesting things, like, imagine AI listening to what your real users are doing, or not really listening, but like as an analogy, listening to what is happening in a real environment, and from that extracting use cases and user flows, and from those flows suggesting test scenarios, even automated ones. I think we'll see this a lot in the future, really, as well.
Yeah, I'm using a lot of AI, especially when I have to program something and I don't find the answer. And AI is helping me a lot. So
Are you using
I also
GitHub Copilot or what?
I tried the Copilot, I tried the Chat GPT, and I'm mainly using GPT now, but I tried Copilot, and I think Copilot is gonna be good too. That's one of the reasons I invest a lot in Microsoft, because I think their AI is really good. So yeah, I'm really investing like in AI, and I think AI is gonna help us a lot. I'm not afraid of AI at all.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see what is coming.
Yeah, same here. I even read one of these days that GitHub launched. I don't know if it's in beta still. Something called Test Pilot, which is kind of the same as the Copilot, but for helping you to write your tests. Okay, we are reaching kind of the end of this episode. So, is there anything that you want me to answer before we get to your final message?
I was curious about what would you be if you were not in tech?
Yeah, so I mentioned what I used to say when I was a kid, but nowadays, if I could choose something to do that would not be tech related, there are two things that come to my mind. One of them is gardener. Maybe I would like to be a gardener because I love plants, and this is something that I think I kind of inherited from my mom. She loves planting the things that she eats, the salad, like the salad that she eats, the tomatoes and all that kind of stuff. And I learned a lot from her, but I'm more kind of specialized, let's say, in one kind of vegetables, which is succulents. So I have a garden of succulents in my balcony here. I would love to be a gardener. And something else that comes to my mind would be something sports related, like something that would be more active, like a gym instructor or something like that would not only... I think it would put me in a position where I would be healthy, because my work is related to helping people getting healthier,
Yeah, we're really similar in this.
Yeah. Okay, do you have any final message for our audience here, Alekson? It was a pleasure speaking with you once again.
It was a pleasure, and my final message is related to the episode, because in the middle of the podcast, when the firefighter word, I even don't know the word, but I tried something. So I did a mistake, and who cares? Like, I tried to communicate, and I'm sure people understand. And maybe if the word is wrong or not. And something that I want to share too is a message that I had from a manager. That once I said, I'm a bit afraid of speaking in English because I will commit some mistakes. And we were talking about speaking English with customers. And I said, imagine how the customers are gonna see the company if they see someone speaking English with mistakes. And then the manager said, imagine if you were in Brazil now, and I was your manager, and I was speaking Portuguese with you. What would you think? And I said to him, oh, it would be great. I would be impressed. Yeah. And then he looked at me and said, yeah, same thing. When we see someone speaking English, that we see that is not first language, we get impressed too. So you don't need to worry. And that day, a lot of things changed in my way of thinking in English and speaking. And the name of the manager was Andrew. So if one day he listened to this, thank you, Andrew. And I'm sure this message is gonna help more people that needs to hear this message.
Yeah, that's a very good one to end up the episode. It's all about empathy, right? To be in the shoes of the other person and not judging, but thinking how would they feel, right? All right, Alekson, thanks again for having another episode of the Tech and Accent. Thank you as well for listening, and see you on the next episode.
This podcast was edited by Ralf Carneiro.